OJ Creek, Danny's people, and the Métis Nation. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the adoption of the minutes? Councillor Dowsett, Councillor Slays. Be it resolved that the July 22nd, 2026 agenda be hereby adopted. Any discussion? Skip 21st.
We skipped the day.
21st, I skipped. Sorry, 21st. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Landry, Councillor Dowsett. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of June 23rd, 2026, and special meeting July 5th, 2026, be approved as presented. And any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. We're now going to move on to our delegations. We have 2 delegations tonight. The first one is Barry and Green Copeland, and that for regarding flooding. So please come up front. With regards to delegations, your presentation is allotted for 10 minutes, and then we'll invite independent councillors have anything after that. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, first of all, we just want to really thank you for your time. We thank you for your effort. We thank you for your kindness, and we thank you for your diligence. As we are reeling from the flooding that we've been experiencing more and more frequently in the past years and now months and days, we're really looking forward to seeing what we can do together to solve this problem, and how we can work together as a community and move this situation from it's a problem to this is desperate, and my house could be swept away along with many others if we continue to leave it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your attention tonight. So this was 1998, we moved here in 97, the neighbors mowed the lawn and it looked like a park, and when we bought the house, we were like, is there ever rain? Never, never. July of 2002, 3.5 inches in 1 hour, did not go over the road, held in there. June 2020, and that was devastating and unexpected. We got all this rain, huge disaster.
I do have an email from the town CEO and the town council at the time in 2021 stating the debris, the silt, and everything will be cleaned up that summer. How many days ago is that? That's 5 years. That's over 1,600 days, and little has been done for our end of town. If anyone wants to see the emails, we do have them all saved.
This is the Dick's house in 2020, how it comes in, their fence is sitting in water. When they built it, it was up, you could see the bottom of the fences. June 29th, this is Annette's house with her dad, water coming up. We're out trying sandbags. When we went to get sandbags, there was nothing at 9 o'clock that night.
My son and I were up at town office or town waters, I think, between 9 and 95. Totally dark, no sandbags available, nobody around, no sand, no nothing. I had some 2x10 planks underneath the deck on old Spruce Street that was just cut down, and that's how we diverted the water to save the Carter's house. We did not get any sandbags that night till after midnight. That night, the water was so high, it was even with the guardrail coming over the road. And again, that was only 3 inches of rain, 3.6 inches in our gauge. And then again, some of the bags that were left and how we diverted it forward.
Go back to that picture. When there were 8.5 truckloads brought, once they put it, they were able to stop all that water from going. So maybe if we would have had those at 9, we wouldn't have had to been dragging desperately things out. Just
But no communication, right? very little communication. Odd person on Facebook. We were told at one point sandbags are going to be delivered to our house. We were waiting probably an hour and a half. For we realized no sandbags were coming. That's when we went up to the town office site and got bags around midnight and started sandbagging. Right, just that in between time, we could have saved a lot. Less damage doing, not only our houses, but the houses going downstream that were really affected. The water between ours and that Carter's house again was just about knee high.
At its peak.
Yeah.
And I think when it's an orange rainfall warning, I guess we have to start taking that super seriously, right? Like, let's just have sandbags ready, let's have them stored, let's have dry sand to put in those sandbags. And, because the weather is changing, in 1997, you could sit outside in the thunderstorm and not worry. Now we worry every single time.
And I think the biggest thing is, for those who live out front. A lot of the land south of town and north of town is soybeans this year, right? Same type thing happens when it's peas, those crops are rolled after they are seeded. So that ground is like cement, so no water actually goes into those fields, right? So a 3-inch rain is being shedded off this field, just like that. Or if it was a wheat field, a canola field, some of that would be stopped by them, right? You go walk over there, Frank, it is like cement. And that's how you do soybeans, right? And they're now at 1.3, 1.4 location, right? So all that water came in that much faster versus the other years.
So yeah, this is the Dicks again, Heidi couldn't make it tonight, or Sean, so they just had sent some pictures.
But the silt is now higher than the Dick's house. The Dick's backyard used to sit 2 to 3 feet higher than the creek bed. Now the creek bed, because there's so much silt has overflowed, is 2 to 3 feet higher. Making the water run the way it should not be running.
That was one day after, just to give you a sense of how it looked. Went out and measured, and, if you zoomed in, it's 4 inches of silt, there's 8 inches of silt, there was 2 inches of silt. That's the stuff that we would like removed now. Because you didn't remove it in 2020, right? So it's like a measuring cup. It holds 2 cups of water. I throw dirt in there. I throw a cup of dirt in. Now I can only hold 1 cup of water. Where's it gonna go? It's now that little valley. It used to be a dip. Now it's leveling out, and the 2-inch rain is gonna bring that over the road.
So this is the walking path. I don't know if everybody has been on the walking path halfway through. The walking path's been eroded since the last rainfall 6 years ago.
Yep.
The culvert is 3/4 full of trees, growing trees up. Now along that flow to start with. The water gets so high, and we have pictures of it coming over the dike, probably about 1.5 to 2 feet now. And that water just going every which way.
We go back there. We walked over, and this was just in the last week and a half. Gary went and measured just to see the size of the culvert. There are actual trees jammed right in there that need to come out. There are trees growing in front of it. I guess we would have thought that maybe somebody from Public Works might want to check that out once in a while, at least a few times over since spring flood, like spring thaw, to every time there's a rain.
And I measured the culverts, the one on night's a 5-foot culvert, this is a 5-foot culvert, the box culvert in front of our house is a 4x6. Should be a 4x6, there's over 1.5 feet of silt in it, it's like a 2.5 by 6. You go around the corner and we have another 5-foot culvert dumping in there, and we all know where the culvert point is. Again, all our asks. Please clean out what's has come down. It's been over 5 years since I promised it did many thousand. All those years, all we've seen is the trees that are right in front of our house in front of the culvert, were removed last fall, that were kind of blocking the culvert, cut down and taken away. And there was about a 4-foot strip molded a couple of years ago. And we got the response from that it was too dangerous to mow grass because there's holes, imagine that. But that's all has been done over the last 2,000 days in there. I do have drone video of last week after the flood at June 10th. I counted 12 to 15 premises or houses north of our house that are affected by the creek overflowing. It's quite a large file, I can text it. Those two words put in the presentation, that was at 10 AM last week, once the water had receded. And you can see every house as we go further north that has been affected. But
And we did this presentation before July 16th. And so on July 16th, we heard all that rain, we went outside at 7 AM. It was like, wow, this is coming down. Danielle came by, she said she'd been checking. And Stacy had been by, and we said, you know what, we kind of have some rocks we watch. And if the water's getting close, we know it's coming over if it's still raining. So it was nice, sandbags were over at the Covenant Church, we quickly went, we set them up the same way that we see in here. And not a single thing of water came into Annette's house or to our house. It all went into the creek like it, or into the ditch, like it should. Went out just on the weekend, measured the silt again, well, guess what? We are now at the minimum 9 inches of silt, 26.5 is our high now of silt. So we're building it up again, and we would just like can during working hours, the town workers come in with some type of machine and start skimming. And I know there's wires, we've been told that in the past, we have to be careful of hydro and fiber lines and all of that stuff, but. Right, 26.5. Those lines are buried somewhere deeper, but like we've got to clean that out before. I don't know, go down the creek and start ditching it so it can take some water. And we had a conversation after July 16th, there was Heidi and us. We were like, well, now do we have to decide who can go away on the weekend? Because if this happens, like if we had been away Thursday morning on the 16th to work. We would have just come home to another disaster.
Yeah.
And that is sleepless nights, and that is anxiety, and that is, and we realize stuff costs money. We realize culverts, bridges, those are big items. But we're just asking, can you go in and start with at least. Making it back into a valley shape, making Heidi's house sit taller than. And I mean, and we were told that that would happen in 2021. And I would have to look, but definitely in 2021, yes, this is gonna happen, and then. It became, oh, the provincial engineer says we can't mow because the soil erosion is gonna happen, and all these things just started. And we pay property taxes, and let's put them to use, right? Like, I know there's a lot of things. The town has to do, but this would help alleviate letting out Lyle, letting out Darcy and Mark, letting out, I don't even know who those people are. That are on by the courthouse or by the funeral home in that area, right? Like it. It would just help.
thanks, that's our 10 minutes, unless there's questions from the council.
Nelson, any questions?
Whereabouts on Fifth Avenue Southwest is this? Just because I was looking on the map and I'm trying to figure it out.
We live at 31 Fifth Avenue and you are 45,
31, 35, right in the bottom.
but it was 45 that got the water.
You're right next to each other?
Yeah, where does that, like 2 feet higher?
Yes.
That
Okay.
makes it just
Yeah.
Well,
that.
the ditch now, as you go past Carter's and the banks of the stones that were laid in those honeycomb plastic things of. All.
Oh, yes.
This way, this
Washed
that
away.
way, the rocks have to be thrown out, there's slabs of concrete that. All the retaining wall and the Carters have fallen in now. It's above your knees for silt.
So, very good. What's RCPC?
And if anybody wants, there's 2 drone videos, I actually flew the valley from our house all the way to
That's my
mine.
house, and that's
And
your
from our
house.
house all the way back.
And this was my
They're
house.
about a minute
That was-
long videos, I can
yeah,
text them.
25.
It's quite interesting to see
And I
what's
don't know why
their
this-
idea of what's up.
What's the number to ask?
867 0067, send me a text and I will send them.
0677?
0067.
Any other questions? Well, I thank you very much for coming out and very good presentation. And yes, we will have some discussions.
And some work. That's the important part.
Again, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next presentation, I think we just have a resolution. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Taylor, Councillor Landry. And second, that we resolve that presentation by Gary and Colleen Thompson and Annette Ford concerning the flooding be received. All in favor? Sorry.
Thank you.
Gary. Next delegation is Mark and Darcy Lahosky. Please come on up. Welcome.
Thank you. So thank you for your time, all councilors. We're trying not to be too mean to anybody. And I don't have a formal presentation. I just want to talk about how I seen, you know, the events unfold and I'm gonna talk about the two floods, the one overland flooding on June 29th, and then the other one on July 16th. And I want to talk about just a little bit about quality control and, you know, double checking on each other when these events come out. You know, we've got a lot of seasoned people in this room who have seen a lot of this before. And when some of these events are known, are people checking on each other saying, hey, yeah, we got this notice, did you do anything? And I get the feeling that none of that happened, even though there was ample information on the airwaves from the province as early as, I guess, around 1:30 that day on Monday. And some people think or thought that they had things under control and were ready, and it seems there was no checking. And then comes a Monday evening and the rain starts coming and really I think focused like everybody that we're looking at the river. Right, we're worried about the river. We weren't really too much about overland flooding, even though it was all over the airwaves that, you know, there's overland flooding, but I never thought of Monday that was what's gonna hit us with all the rain. But it does reflect back on several years ago, we have had this same issue and this same problem came to council. And, you know, we are at another council going to turn over again. So anything that does get decided, I hope that you start the process now, whatever we decide to do, any suggestions you get from anybody is start it now, don't leave it till the next council comes in. Because you know, some of you may come in, some of you retire, maybe you've had enough already, we'll move on, let younger people come in, whatever. So, and I just relate what we do at our, you know, our companies, you always have somebody double checking, did you do it? Did you do Paul, is it sandbags? You know, very simple stuff, it's really simple, but I don't think it got done. And there's some misunderstanding about why there's no sandbags, that they're gonna deteriorate in like 1 month or 2 months. That's just totally false. Sandbags, they've got a polypropylene in them. You can have a short supply of UV stabilized sandbags that last for 6 years. And you can have that. You can have that under a tarp in a shed somewhere. You can have 1,000 of them, 5, it doesn't matter, a small amount, just to get started. Because by the time that water starts coming down, you have no time to make sandbags. And until you put in process that engineering report that I think we've had for a couple of years, until you put that into progress, I think we should have that. We should have something. We should have a trailer. We should have a trailer with pylons, with barricades, with whatever you need. And some of these more seasoned counselors here, I sent that same request in 2020 that we should have that trailer full. And I don't know if we have it yet. We still don't have it yet. So now we're scrambling, doing sandbags, midnight, vacuuming the water out of basements. How many times can these homeowners do this? We're fairly well prepared because I'm banked up on my side. And if we had enough time, I had my Bobcat, I had some gravel. I destroyed my yard doing it, but at least I did it, and then the sandbag came, well, fine, okay, but I'm fairly well off, but those poor buggers that have it 5 feet of water in their basement. I mean, none of you, now, don't take this the wrong way, none of you counselors live down there. It's not, it's important to you, but you're not losing sleep at night. I don't think so. It would have been done. That engineering report, we've had that for 2 years. I took a look at the town budget. I think there's only $10,000 for ditches and culverts. We got about a $7 million budget that we work with, I think. $10,000 for ditches and culverts. We have that almost at the LED in Sandy Lake every year for improvement. Little tiny Sandy Lake. I was in Brandon before the first flood. They were building their berm long before we even thought about doing anything. And they're about a week downriver from the high flood in the river. Did we peak sooner? That's how far we're behind we are. When we, on that June 29th, Darcy phoned Brian, our town foreman, Brian, 9:30, asked for sandbags, didn't have any. She was told, go fill some. We don't have a key to the shop. We can't just go into the shop, or I can bring my Bobcat up there and load these people looking for sandbags. I can't do that unless you give me a key. I'll take the key. I don't have a key. And Brian's in Brandon. And I'm gonna touch on it later. I mean, next time we replace our town foreman, let's do it from within. From within, somebody who's maybe here, maybe we should have a co-town foreman, maybe somebody like Marty, or somebody here, a co-guy. What's wrong with having a co-town foreman fill in when the other guy's out somewhere? There's nothing wrong with that. We have an assistant deputy mayor, when the real big guy's not here. Why not have that? We're in a valley with trains rolling through here, all these things. So that's an issue with the response we got from Brian. We think it was pretty cold. And the other people who called, no sandbags, we can have those sandbags, they won't rot. Next, I guess, on the July 16th, when I got up 4 inches of rain coming, I heard one comment from a counselor, and I won't say who it was, because it's not important, but he said, well, we're only supposed to get, a few tenths of rain. He said, yeah, but when you got up in the morning, what's your rain gauge say? Like, you can't show up at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, bringing pylons and closing the roads. You gotta do it at 7 or at 6. You get up. Everybody gets up early. Look at your rain gauge. And once one of my coworkers and I were sandbagging, like we were rebuilding a 3rd Avenue to make a curve to kind of keep it out of the yard. Even though we do have protection there. Our town foreman came by, just smiled and waved, and took a puff, and away he went. There was, Pepper came by. He says, we're gonna go right out onto the street with this stuff. I says, yeah. I says, can you go get some sand or some pylons? He went away on his loader. He brought back 1.5 pylons. Because that's all the town had. And there was 2 pylons on the sidewalk, right across next to Hampton's old house. Across from us, Stetson, right across. There is 2 or 3 pylons there and And Sawhorse, so my coworker and I, we went over and grabbed that one to divert traffic because cars were going, continuing to Main Street and they were getting all steamed and they stalled up. So they created a traffic jam because there's no way to block the road, so somebody else had to come and tow that guy out of the way. So it's just like, it's seen, there's people around and they didn't know what to do. And this is like not take one, this is take two, take three, take four. We should have this down pat. So the supplies that were available on July 16th were really pretty pathetic. I had a half a pylon, a full pylon, and then I seen the town brought a pylon with one leg, walking from Second. So that Sawhorse only had one leg. When you get time, take a look at that sidewalk bridge, the water's coming back. And if I maybe one or two more floods, that bridge is gone. So there's gonna be like 50K, 100K, 200K to do that. 2 years ago, I asked town foreman Brian, you've got to shore this up because I used to park my truck along there. I can't park on that bank anymore because it's eroded away so far. You'll eventually lose part of the street, part of the sidewalk. I mean, it all costs us money. And we can get lots of money. You just gotta prioritize where the money comes from and what you're gonna spend it on. You can easily get $1 or $2 million and you can start picking away at this stuff. The culverts all get smaller all the way down to the river. There's an engineering report, I went through it. And there's a lot of ideas where you can piecemeal that all the way up. And I've got a couple of suggestions that I think very soon, because harvest is coming and it's fresh in everybody's mind, consider organizing a meeting with some of these landholders and just explain to them what it's doing to your budget. How much does it cost for all of this? Because in the end, this is all our tax dollars that we're wasting away. It's our money that we're not fixing. And I mean, you've got to get a buy-in from them.
You're speaking of, sorry, Mark, you're speaking of the southern land.
The southern landowners, yes. I think you've got to get a buy-in, and I know back in the day, 15 years ago, no farmer had a high-low. Nobody had a big excavator because the scale wasn't there. Now I'd say 1 and 2 have excavators, and I have one that we have all over my farm, and I can do a lot of damage in an evening at midnight till 6 AM on ditches. This happened before your very eyes, and the vines aren't big enough, but that's all spilt meth. That's, you're never going back there. You gotta go back now to like Minto Dam. We got mini dams out and we try to slow some of the water down there. I'm sure some of you are aware of those mini dam projects we have in Minto Dam. That can be done all the way out here, and I'm sure some of that's in that engineering report. So that sidewalk bridge, you know what, I don't think if anybody fell in there, even if they're a good swimmer, they'd survive the way it's eaten out there. That's one big liability on them. You guys are gonna eat that someday if you don't fix it. It's coming back in around. There isn't a whole lot of time on that one. Why not think about some UV inhibit sandbags that we could have under at hand sometime? I'm still thinking, you should be promoting within. It does two things. If you don't promote within, you get dissent in your workforce. They're gonna be peeved at you for not promoting. If you gotta be able to train these guys up if you think they're not qualified. Now, I don't know how great some of them are, but I know some of them, I've seen them work a lot harder than what's happening now. They're out there knee deep in the muck when I was delivering sandbags around to everybody. those guys are out there working. Make one of them a coworker or a co-manager. Or at least just think about it. I still think you should have some kind of trailer. That's just ready, whether or not it's got snowmobiles in it for the winter time, or ice shacks or for the winter, or sandbags and pumps and the sawhorses, at least in the summertime. And something we do, if we've got like a really heavy week, we have a meeting at the end of the day. So we all know what we're doing at the start of the day. And that goes a long way. When people get up in the morning, they're not moping around, they're not knowing, what are we gonna do? 'Cause I seen a lot of that on the second flood. There was town people come around, but there was no, you do that, I do this. It was just, circling the wagon. Everybody should have a rate gauge. In council and at the town, you all should have rain gauges. That's about all I wanna cover, I just wanna try to make things better. Not trying to come across firm, but this is just what I see. And it's factual, it happens.
Yep.
Thank you.
I don't know, Darcy might have some, she's open things off.
I think we pretty much, touched base with everything.
Hey, there's a lot of people way worse off than us. I mean, there's people here, they've got 5 feet of water in their basements, for Christ's sakes. Like, come on, you gotta have some compassion for these people.
The June 29th came up very fast. We only had 2.5 inches of rain in our rain gauge. And we should have never had that kind of a flood out of 2.5 inches. And it happened very fast, because I remember looking at the ditch at about 8:30ish, and it was fine. And then I thought, I'll put it on Main Street to check how it is, because sometimes it's not clean beside our offices there. And I just opened the garage door, and there was literally a river running out of our doorway. So that's when I called Brian, and I said to him, I have a river at our house, and he said, yeah, everybody's flooding, and that's when I asked for sandbags, and now he told me I can come and do them myself. Well, I couldn't do that with everything going on.
Read that engineering report, there's a lot of things that can get. I mean, you're gonna have to prioritize some of them, but. Anyway, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Question? I'm just gonna make a couple comments. You talked about the burns south of town. I have been in conversation with Doug Dowson, because it's in the arm of Mitchell data. Doug's approached 3 farmers. We have a possible one that is willing to put berms on the farm at this point. We're gonna try and go further south, because in the report, I believe it called for multiple berms, like 18. Yeah. We're also meeting with the Assiniboine West Watershed District, because they can engineer them. And they can also have the money to work with the farmers, so that is in motion, but. I think we will struggle. And I'm just saying this off my personal opinion, we may struggle getting cooperation from the farmers. To put those berms in, you're absolutely right, the ones that are north of here, in the environmental data have been very successful. After the first rain, Doug indicated that even one of the berms is holding back about 45 acres of water. Which would have come into our river system, which not necessarily overland flooding permitted those, but certainly has a negative impact on the silt component. So we are looking at that, and I have talked to Mayor Ken Cameron about bringing the council together, and this is for everybody.
So has the town or the council approached these producers, or just RM?
The RN, that's because those residents are in the RN. So we are going to be working more with them, and we're gonna try and be more proactive on that part, but.
Cause I do have drone pictures of them, I think they all know the farms in this. That producer lost maybe a couple of acres in the last, right? It's not a lot of land they're gonna lose, right?
Yeah, it's just convincing, and that's And in that,
They're just now, well, that's.
that there's a lot of information in that report about what the 3 inches of rain would cause, 4 inches, 5 inches of rain, how much would be affected by the farmers, so. That is certainly something we will need to work on, but again, because of time, I want to thank you very much for your presentation and just coming in and addressing the concerns that you have.
I mean, soft power will go a long way too, when you start.
I'm sorry?
Soft power on farmers, you know, just using some soft power because. Yeah, well, we should have another meeting, you know, and, yeah.
Okay, no other questions? I just have a resolution here, to move in a second. Councilor Dowsett, Councilor Landry, that the presentation by Darcy and Mark Lahossie concerning the overland flooding be received. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, thanks, and your granddaughter is great at night.
All of
I'll be ready to get all the stuff we can fix it, so.
Thanks so much for being, I wasn't even here, so yeah, you can text in Toronto, like that.
Chairperson,
Yes,
I have a question for you, what's on the agenda next?
we have correspondence. And then we have old business and we have new business and financial business.
We're on.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yes, thank you.
All right, we're going on to, there are no public hearing bylaws. Can I get a mover and a seconder regarding the 4 letters from correspondence, Councilor Dowsett, Councilor Taylor? Be it resolved that the following correspondence be received: letter from Vernon Phillips regarding trees, letter from Lana and Veronica concerning sidewalks and crosswalks, a letter from AMM regarding the Midwestern District Meeting, RCMP stats. Are there any questions?
I just have a bit more of a comment regarding the sidewalk and crosswalk, mostly the crosswalks. Is there any way that we can find out if we can drop the lights on these crosswalks down to a more reasonable level? Because when you hit the buttons on them, I'm not sure if you've seen, flashing lights are like 12 to 15 feet up in the air. If you're trying to get the attention of cars that are close by, you can't see them, they're way up there. Or adding a second set of lights.
Any other comments? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Old business, gonna get a mover and a seconder, Councilor Dowsett. Councilor Marks. Whereas the property owner of 131 Sealer Bay had submitted a request for an extension to completion of construction on May 13, 2025. Billed by an additional year, June 30th, 2026. And whereas the council had approved the extension by resolution number 2025-110 with a $500 fine and a final completion date of June 30th, 2026. And whereas to date, only a foundation has been completed. Therefore, be it resolved that the property owner be ordered to pay an additional fine of. It's collected. Discussion, Councilor Landry and Councilor.
What was the original wording on the previous resolution?
Is whereas the property owner has submitted a letter to the CAO requesting an extension to June 30th, 2026. Therefore, be it resolved, the extension request be approved to June 30th, 2026.
with a fine of $500 being paid before June 1st, 2025, with no further extension being approved to the building agreement assigned.
What was that last sentence, sir?
No further extension?
Yes.
Councilor Blaze.
I was thinking, that there would be a little bit more. He has done the pad, that type of stuff, but, I'd be looking at a fine substantially higher than what the last one was. I mean, given the fact that we'd be collecting taxes on it by now, if it was anybody else. I'm just thinking that it has to be a minimum double from what the last time was. And not that I wanna see this happen, but by the same token. We can't continue to do this.
Any other discussion? Councilor Marks?
I'm good with the 1,000.
You're good, what?
I'm good with the 1,000.
I think it should be more than that, so. At this point.
At least 1,000. With his point of, we basically sell these for $1 with the assumption that we will be getting revenue within a year. And we have not gotten anything outside of the fine and basically false promises. No, at least 1,000.
It's either that or we're looking at we're no longer doing it and the land is up for sale.
That's what I would. Need more than.
Any other comments? So right now, we have a suggestion on the floor for 1,000.
In that regard, I guess my question would be is how much has he expended in building that foundation?
But size there, that would be substantial, there would be a,
60,
there'd probably be a $10,000.
it'll be more than that.
More than that, 100%. I'm just small part, I'm not.
No, he's just got the pad leveled out, like the lines leveled out and everything, back down. There's probably 20 grand worth of gravel there, if not more.
We just put a pad in for a new building also, it's not that size there, but ours is $4,600 for our pad, and that's for. That'll be for 115 by 15. So I'm sure his is 115, but it's got
So that was it.
wide.
So are you guys looking for him to continue doing this? And just finding him, and at what stage or what length of time are you going to give him?
Councilor Marks, or Councilor Landry?
Does he have a building permit yet?
Yes.
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 You just
Waiting
figured
for
out.
the contract.
How long ago?
I think the name was.
Yeah, I've always
Something like that.
told it.
Councilor Taylor?
Has this gentleman given any reason why he's not building? Is there any reason?
Well, we get a lot of reasons,
Planning district about what's going on?
the contractor. It seems to be given.
The contractor's holding this up?
Well.
3 years.
It's in-
Yeah, well, I'm just asking, what's the reason? I fully agree. I think that something should have been done.
What are you thinking?
Mine.
What's your suggestion?
A fine of $1,000. I think we need to take the land back and.
Councilor Landry?
What would the estimated property taxes be? With a building on it, because I think that should be the fine.
Exactly.
That's what we would normally be getting. I think that's very reasonable to say.
Which should have been built on in the first.
What, if he's got a building permit for a 60 by 100, what would the property taxes on that be? And I think that's a fair fine. If you're gonna take your time, you're paying for it, like if your building's there.
We probably don't want people.
Find one that's within the area, kind of like the same structure.
The two of them to the west there, Darwin.
Yeah.
Darwin's, there's Dallas Crowler's got one. I don't know if one of them doesn't have power.
Magnuson is also there too.
Darwin's not gonna problem.
Yeah, so whatever that property tax is, I think would be a fair amount.
So properties in the area right now is paying $3,845.23. So what was that other name you said?
There's Darwin McTavish, Dallas Brother. I can give you the roll numbers if you want.
Jan Magnuson. Or
Another one is paying $3,097.89, so it's in that 3,000 to 4,000 range.
Council Joseph,
I feel that we should collect for 2025 tax.
okay, place of discussion, Councilor Landy.
I'd like to suggest $2,500. It's less than what property taxes would be, but it's still in line with what they should be.
Okay. Any other comments? So we have $2,500 right now, if everybody's feeling comfortable with that, and what I would like to say is that I'm not thinking on the time. But the rationale that the building should have been up. And that we have lost a year of taxes.
Yes, that's right.
Makes full sense to me, so
It's not a point. It's the collecting of the taxes.
basically.
Yeah.
Should be within the statement and finding of 2,500, we're trying to make the statement that it is why, and that the fine will be a certain amount next year. And I'm thinking 4, if it's not complete.
Council Place,
Alright, can there be a shorter time limit than 1 year?
Yeah.
well, I think,
6 months or something.
again, we don't have that in the resolution, right? And
Or just charge for the taxes.
or we just say, well, charge recording tax based on
That's what.
comparable, I don't know, something on that one.
Yeah.
Cause we are losing money in town.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not being done.
That's the point.
That is.
And if you guys wanna give it for $2,500 for 2025, that's fine, but I want the full amount for 2026.
Okay,
I'm not following, we're in 2026 now.
Yes, but at the end of the year,
Yeah.
you may or may not have the building, but. we should-
That's what I'm thinking, we should be putting a date on this year.
Well, we put dates on the other. You know that. Right,
so far we are,
Randy talks.
everybody's comfortable, we're at $2,500 with an amendment that. The building will be full tax. The following year,
Right on.
does that make sense?
So we actually put the bottom to say therefore be it resolved that the property owner be ordered to pay an additional fine of $2,500 comparable to 2025 property tax. Should a building have been completed?
Should we mention the fact of fine or that we should collect the taxes?
Well, we can't collect taxes on unassessed property.
Right.
No. Fine.
We can, yeah, we can make the fine amount, what that would be, but we Yeah, cannot.
Yeah.
We can't tax unassessed property.
That, did you want me to put stipulated to be a final date that it has to be, or else the town will then take the and put it in there that the town will be proceeding to take the property back? Should it not be?
When's
by,
when's the tax, October?
supplemental to come out in October or
So
November.
why could we not make it October,
Yeah.
right? To me, I,
What are the time, guys?
Finish it by October. Is it,
I'm sorry.
is it reasonable to finish the building by,
Well, they're all planting up a tent, what they're doing.
huh?
They're not building a building.
This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Council Landry,
I'd like to suggest a date of March 1st, 2027.
I prefer that.
Well,
Everybody's putting out a date, March 1st, 2027, there's the date.
That sounds good.
it's, I just wanted it in October. So it's in the tax.
And I see that was fine. Probably prefer to put down anyway.
We can have access to go on 27's property tax with the balance of 26's should have been completed in 26.
Yeah.
We will do that.
Yes.
That is.
No later than, I'm sorry, March.
I said March 1st, if somebody can argue with me, nobody's putting out a date, so March 1st.
Well, it's
You'll have to read it.
October 28th.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm.
okay,
It's random number.
to say it with gusto. So I'm just waiting for Danielle to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do it. Okay, so I will, it was moved by Tom Dowsett, seconded by Robert Marks, whereas the property owner at. Nothing about that,
To the better voice.
therefore, be it resolved that the property owner be ordered to pay an additional fine of $2,500 comparable to the 2025 property taxes. Should a building have been completed, and further be it resolved that a final completion bill not be later than March 1, 2027, with no additional extensions.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right.
Any further discussion?
We put that into the thing the last time with no further expansion, and here we are still doing the same thing.
Counselor.
The wording on that again should be different.
Given that the last resolution said we weren't giving any extension, can the wording for this one be, the town will then proceed to
Resell.
take back the land, like, you know what I mean, take the lot back. After that point, you know what I mean, like something. Better language than what we're, because technically we're going against our previous resolution right now.
Yep.
Technically.
Very quick, let me know.
Okay, so and further be resolved that the final completed date. Complete build not be later than March 1, 2027. And further be it resolved that should the build not be completed by March 1, 2027. Administration was authorized to start proceedings to take back ownership of the land as per sale agreement. Everybody okay with that?
Complete or substantially complete?
I think you want to complete it.
Complete.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Roll on to 10.1. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councilor Landry. Councilor Dowsett. Whereas the month of June 2026 had received copious amounts of rain throughout the parkland and western Manitoba, causing rivers and lakes to swell and exceed its bank in many areas. And whereas on June 29, 2026, the town experienced excessive rain and extensive overland flooding, which caused damages to private property and municipal infrastructure. And whereas the town had expended non-budgeted funds in preparation for the river level to rise and reach its banks as per the expert advice from the province of Manitoba. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Minnedosa requests disaster financial assistance for public sector costs incurred to the municipality as well as private sector costs incurred by its residents and property owners during the June 29th, 2026 rain event and the pre-impact costs for the anticipated July river peak and breach. Discussion? Councilor.
And wait, on it, for the therefore be it resolved, so. Incurred to the municipality as well as the private sector costs incurred by its residents and property owners. So does that mean that, the property owners and residents are going to be able to submit, their bills for that type of stuff? And if so, by when do they have to get their, information together to ascertain that? Like, if we have ours together by whatever the date is, and how are we letting property owners know this, that they have this opportunity to recoup some of their losses also.
So we put out a social media post requesting individuals that were affected by the overland flooding to contact us with their damages. They have done that, so we have the contact information. Once we get approved, we'll send everybody the information to apply for their own disaster financial assistance.
Okay, well, that doesn't get lumped together, they are on their own.
The residents are on their own, but we will give them all the information that they need to be able to file on them.
Do we have any residents that are seeking that information at this point in time?
Yes.
Okay.
Any further questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. We are on to 10.2 campground new layout design. I'm gonna move from a seconder. Councilor Dowsett, Councilor Blaze, that the alternative campground design layout be approved as presented. Discussion?
This was the presentation on another date.
July 5th.
July 5th, that we were able to look at that and
Signed that.
signed that at the time, so we were able to put that into motion already. So that's something that we should be just moving on at this time, so from that, it's still a long ways away from where we're gonna get to be able to, have all the information that we need to be able to make a knowledgeable vote on this at this time, so, I'm just asking that we continue on through this route here, so until we get to the point where it becomes dollars and cents and we decide yay or nay at that point in time, but I think we are so far into this, we need to find out, and we're getting dangerously close to running out of time to get this done.
Any further discussion? Councilor Taylor?
Just a question like that, yay or nay, but what do you really know that yay or nay?
I'm just saying, that this is not, this is just to proceed to the next step. This is
Provide you.
yeah, like this is, we're trying to seek out the information to get everything done so that everybody can be informed, and we can make the final decision. This is not the final decision, this is just.
So that would be done, like, there's no cost.
No, exactly.
Well, there's more money to Dylan.
What's that?
This is more money to
I
Dylan.
know, that's exactly.
Yeah, we don't know any of those, that information.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Mark. What do you look at?
Okay, guys, financial statement, can I get a mover to seconder, please?
And when.
Councilor Landry, Councilor Dowsett.
Yeah.
Be it resolved that the June 2026 financial statements for the town of Minnedosa be approved as presented. Discussions. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. General operating. Then mover and seconder, please. Councilor Taylor, Councilor Dowsett. Be it resolved that general account for the month of May 2026 in the amount of $717,626.27 and including check numbers 6857, 626,903 and May payroll be approved. Further, be it resolved that general account for the month of June 2026 in the amount of $409,800,092 and including the check numbers 6904 to 7030 and June payroll be approved.
What was that?
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Utility operating, mover and seconder, please. Councilor Dowsett, Councilor Landry. Be resolved that utility accounts for the month of May 2026 in the amount of $140,151.24 and include the check numbers 2307 and 2345 and May utility payroll be approved. further, it be resolved that the utility account for the month of June 2026 in the amount of $128,497.49, and including with check numbers 2346 to 2385 and June utility payroll be approved. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Minnedosa Parks Board, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Counselor Dowsett, Counselor Marks, be it resolved that the May and June 2026 financial statements for the Minnedosa Parks Board be approved as presented. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Sorry, Counselor Daisy, do you have a question?
No,
Oh, okay, all right.
Late coming to the party.
We're on to reports, so there is, my report is there. If anybody has any questions?
I got a question for you.
Yes, Counselor Lang.
You say Alex and Kat are looking after the washroom facilities at Tanner's Crossing Park.
Yes,
Funny, because shouldn't we have a contract to clean the washrooms that include Tanner's Crossing Park?
We do have a contract, yes, so we have. The most big events down there.
Yeah.
They will be contracted to clean those bathrooms.
Okay.
As was initially in contract.
Okay, I thought it was a daily thing.
No, we didn't have them open on a daily basis.
Okay.
It was only for events.
it came out with a CDC meeting that it would be nice if they were open, so we're trying it on a trial basis. And Alex and Kat agreed to do it if there was some hazardous material in there that they didn't want to deal with, then we just started closing off again. But so far, it's been going okay. Last time I talked to them, they haven't had too many issues. I've been poor aim in some places.
I have a,
Yes,
from your report with the recycling, it's going to be an increase of $2,000 per month.
$2,000 a month approximately.
That we're as a town, is there an appetite to say, forget recycling? Because it's basically not being recycled. There is no market for the material. I know we're just doing it for feeling good about ourselves, but at what cost?
I think that would be a discussion at some point in time, but, so right now, Evergreen, it's costing Evergreen about $90,000 a year for recycling. By the time they haul stuff and get rid of the glass, they don't get anything for it, it's actually crushed down, goes into the product. So the only thing really getting anything for is cardboard. But we still have to pay for the cardboard, they don't, but it is, so, yeah, and then the net is loss of 90,000. So they're looking, they need to recover that. So they just gave us a report at the last meeting, I didn't scan any up on to look at, they've done a look at. January, February, March, April, as to what the cost were.
Right, right.
I just generalized, I put it at 2,000 a month.
Yeah, you put it simple for us.
Yeah.
But I still believe that we should have that discussion.
I agree with you 100%.
And like discontinuing are you suggesting discontinuing the recycling program?
That's what I'm suggesting.
I'm thinking that at some point in time, it will be revived again, and it will be very hard to get people back on board, I think, and recycling and stuff like that. I think we have to continue on the recycling program all the time, but by the same token, when you're asking that it's $2,000 extra a month, you mean that's the Evergreen charge, or?
That, what they do is they take a look at how much recycling is going from the town and then it goes to Evergreen.
Yeah.
And then they look at what their income is for that month, and then they're doing it on a per capita basis. What per pound is.
So ours is an additional 2,000 or the 2,000?
Additional, every partner putting in money. We're the second.
Okay.
We have the most involved, me plus the most involved, yes.
Yes, okay.
Are they continuing something like that?
And I haven't heard of it not yet.
Because I know there was discussion on just because of the cost that it's.
So the one that nobody's asked me about was I attended a Zoom meeting for the watershed.
Yeah, yeah.
We were gonna get to that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And it was dealing with the allegations. And it was about an hour-long meeting, and he went over all the general manager went over all the allegations, and a lot of it was a misunderstanding. For an example, the credit card one. Yes, he was using his own credit card, but that's been going on for years and years, since when he started. And because the watershed district never had their own credit card. So he had to buy something online, so he was, that has now changed, they now have their own credit card. The other one was tendering process, because they do all the many different areas, they were comfortable with certain contractors. And because those contractors knew how to build the berms and et cetera, so they went that route. And it was, they weren't doing it on a project basis, they were doing it on an hourly basis. But now they're now changing that and they're reformatting their tendering process. And the other one was the general manager has a farm, and yes, he is using the watershed district. And they've been funding projects on his farm, but they've all been approved by the board. All the credit cards were approved by the board, so everything that was being done was approved by the board. The only concern that I mentioned that I have is, where is the board? Why are they not putting out a statement regarding this and what the changes are? And that is still not come forward, but in lieu of that, I think we should stick with the watershed, that's my recommendation.
Yes.
The date for our next meeting in August, but anyways, that's and there wasn't,
Until we find other information.
I don't think they're gonna get any more coming out with the board, not gonna give them more, so. Status quo. Well, they are making changes.
That is what I was trying to think that individual should resign.
That made the accusations,
Huh?
that made the accusations.
No, the actual general manager.
I think it was a disgruntled.
I think if there's, if literally more than half of contracts are going to family members.
No, that's not true.
No, that's.
Well,
No.
Well, go ahead, please.
He is not the problem. This was a problem with the person that was Frank Hall, and he was part of the ones that got rid of the ecological corridor on the Little Saskatchewan. Right? So he was the one that initiated, along with our buddy that's gonna come to this town on the 27th. And so
So can I just,
Get me out.
can I just move this to when it comes up with as a resolution? Because we can split it.
Yeah.
But I just want to put in my notes. And the last one is that the volunteer recognition dinner brought in just over $28,000 in funding, so 13,000, I do have the check now, and it's up today, is going to the Minnedosa Area Foundation, and $15,000, I believe, is going to be given to the town to be put into an account, to a high interest account towards the NBR. CDC would prefer not to keep that money, they would prefer to show that it goes somewhere else. Okay, anything else on there, my report? Good, thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
as presented.
Any questions?
It's getting quiet. I don't know why,
All right, moving on, Councilor Marks' report.
as presented.
Where did that come up? Did it- Oh, sorry, I've never got a chance to read it.
Oh, what
It's on the agenda now.
I put it up here. Can I just make a comment about the flood events in sandbagging the volunteers?
Yeah.
Today I dropped off 20-day passes to Cat. Cat has a list of all the volunteers that were part of the sandbagging. Their name's gonna go into a draw. Rockland Field's gonna go, so donated 20-day passes towards the sandbagging initiative that they wanted to help out and contribute. So I dropped off the letters, and Kat's working on making that draw, and she will contact the people that they won or entitled to a day pass.
Are we going to be writing a thank you to the Rocking the field people.
Actually, in the blurb, it is the town of Minnedosa and Rockland Field, so that was their request.
Okay, so we,
But we have, you're not, all we're doing is doing the, get, that's just doing the.
I just wanna make sure that they know how we appreciate what they're doing. So,
All right. No other reports, we're gonna move on then to. In camera. I don't have a resolution.
Is there anything in
Yes.
Yes.
All I
I
see,
think so.
two white,
Yes,
big, white long sauces.
Your brain's on vacation mode or?
no,
Yeah, June 24th is come too early.
July.
okay, the resolutions are there, that just want to.
Okay. Make this one to say, yeah, that's white, so. But, so, yeah.
Got them there?
What about this building?
Yeah, 15.1, I get a mover and a seconder, please. Counselor Landry, Counselor Dossett. Be it resolved that this regular meeting now adjourns to an in-camera meeting to discuss matters in the preliminary stages as per subsection 1523B33 of the municipal act, and all matters discussed in camera are confidential until discussed in an open meeting as per section 83(1)D of the municipal act. Further, be it resolved that the video recording now be paused. All in favor? Opposed? There.
Resolution regarding water district, the watershed.
August.
August meeting, yeah.
Never mind. That's that one, Landry.
Counselor Landry?
I just wanted to say thank you to all the volunteers who helped.
Fantastic.
Everybody.
Help protect the town and how everybody came together. It was really nice to see. And thank you to staff, administration, everybody, chat. Nobody's here,
Yeah.
but it was fantastic. So thank you very much for all your work.
I wanna say that those girls that you have, and I don't think we need cameras, because if they can handle sandbags the way they were, they should be able to handle pretty much anybody that comes in there.
Can handle you anyway. Step over to.
Anything others? Last resolution, Counselor Dossett. Counselor Landry, that the meeting be adjourned at 7:11 PM and to meet again on August the 18th, 2026.
It was not as bad as I thought.
Thank you, John.